Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Brought to you today by the guys from Unibet. Make sure you check out my article that I did for Unibet, the one on the three defenders I think that Arsenal should try and sign this summer. I've loved the feedback that I've got from it. And as I keep saying, Lewis Dunk. Why not Lewis Dunk? The link is in the description. For my article and all the other articles on Unibet. Really good articles there. Make sure you check that out. Now, the window is closing in and we still ain't really done nothing. I mean, just Gabriel Martinelli. I saw yesterday how Leicester have signed Tielemans for a reported £40 million. Leicester? Yes, Leicester. You look at what some of the other teams are doing. I see West Ham linked to the Uruguayan striker that they're willing to do a release clause of over £40 million for. West Ham. Look what Wolves are doing as well. If we are not careful and get our act together in this transfer window, these teams are going to catch us up. Remember, all three of those teams, West Ham, Leicester and Wolves, beat us last season, beat us away from home and beat us pretty comprehensively as well. And gave us also pretty, Wolves drew with us at home as well. If we're not careful, these teams are going to start closing the gap on that top six and, forget about top four. We got to get our act together in this transfer window. Now, will William Saliba be the first of those sort of signings to come in following the Martinelli one? Lots of talk that this is on the verge of being closed and that William Saliba will become an Arsenal player in a deal worth £27 million. However, it does look like he will be loaned back to Saint Etienne for a season, to further his development. Remember, he's only 18. He's a top prospect. I get it. Arsenal want to secure this kid. He's a top prospect. And, they want to make sure that they get him before anybody else gets him. And I also get the fact that, when you see the sort of reported breakdown of the deal, it looks like Arsenal will only pay a small amount up front, with most of it being paid next season. So I get it. With our limited transfer budget, that seems like a decent option. However, we need defenders now, right now. The defenders that we have right now as centre-back, they're not good enough. We know that. We spoke about Mustafi yesterday. He's not good enough. We need somebody in there now. And Saliba won't be coming in now. He'll be coming in next year. Well, we're going to go another year with what we've had last season, the same defence that shipped over 50 goals. I don't know. I still, and I don't really see us being linked with many centre-backs. As I said, what I keep saying about Lewis Dunk, why not? Or somebody. But does look like the Saliba thing will get done. Interesting links today to the Chelsea player, Timo Bakayoko. He was out on loan last season at AC Milan, where he had a fairly decent time. He was a bit of a disaster when Chelsea signed him from Monaco. Chelsea fans were really getting on his case. He was almost like their Mustafi, He made a lot of mistakes. And it was really surprising because I remember when they signed him from Monaco, it was one of the players at the time I was thinking, why don't Arsenal go for him? Because the games that I'd seen him in for Monaco, he looked brilliant. But he went out on loan, had a fairly decent time of it. I remember reading something from him where he said, listen, he was injured for a lot of his time when he was at Chelsea, and he sort of gained back his fitness and confidence whilst he was at Milan. Now, Arsenal and Manchester United being linked with a move for him today, it would be a really surprising one. It'd be interesting as well to see what sort of money would be involved in him because Chelsea did pay a lot of money, over £30 million for him. So would any of those two, us, Arsenal or Manchester United, be willing to meet that sort of fee? Chelsea are willing to sell. Apparently Frank Lampard is not really looking to Bakayoko. They are looking to move him on. He's still only young at 24, French international. I don't know. It'd be a big risk because, as I said, it's still fresh in the memory that season he had at Chelsea. But if you could get the Monaco Bakayoko, I mean, that was an excellent player, but I'm not too sure if Arsenal will be going in for him, but it's one of the links today. Also linked to the Southampton midfielder, Mario Lemina. Now, Lemina, 25, Gabon international, a really dynamic player in that midfield for Southampton. I remember when he first came over, I really, really rated him. He looks so strong, he's quick, a very, very good player. But again, it's just not kind of worked out for him. Again, another player who had quite a lot of injuries last season. And the new manager at Southampton seems to be not too keen on him, and they are willing to move him on as well. Now, again, the two clubs said to be interested in him, and it is a bit of a coincidence. Arsenal and Manchester United again. Now, has this just been put forward there by, you know, certain journos who, you know, have just put two and two together and think, yeah, both of these teams are looking for midfielders. Let's put Lemina out there. Or is it a genuine link? Lemina is a good player. But again, he's not a week, what I call a week in, week out, consistent midfield player. Sometimes you see him, he's brilliant. Another time you see him in a game, he's totally anonymous. So who knows? But Arsenal linked with Lemina today. Now, the Wilfried Zaha thing, as we know, I don't have to tell you about it. Arsenal linked with him. Zaha last night scoring the winning goal for Ivory Coast as they progressed to the semi-final of the African Cup of Nations. That also means that there'll be no news on that soon, because he's concentrating, and he said it himself, I'm concentrating on the African Cup of Nations. I'm concentrating on trying to win this for the Ivory Coast, which would be massive for him. But he's certainly looking like the star player for Ivory Coast. And again, another goal from him. And again, every time I see this guy play, I think to myself, he would be a wonderful signing for Arsenal. Will Arsenal be able to get this one done? It's going to be very, very difficult to get done. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens once he does return from the African Cup of Nations. But it's not going to be yet, because Ivory Coast have progressed. The other target Arsenal looking at is Malcolm from Barcelona. Now, left from Bordeaux, went to Barcelona with a big fanfare, and it's just not worked out for him. He's had hardly any game time there whatsoever, and Barcelona are looking to move him on, especially as Barcelona are trying to bring back Neymar from PSG. Neymar, seen yesterday, reporting back late for training. PSG really angry with him. It does look like he's going to be moving to Barcelona, and that Malcolm will be moving elsewhere. But where will that be? Will it be Arsenal, or will it be Everton? Another team, again, as I said, these teams, with the sort of signings they're looking to make. Everton are looking to get Malcolm as well. They're really interested in him. Or could he go to PSG as part of any deal to get Neymar? Again, it's going to be interesting to see how that one develops out. I think Malcolm is a plan B or C for Arsenal if they can't get Zaha. But if they do want Malcolm, probably going to have to move on that fairly quickly. Now, Mohammed El Ninny, he's another player that's been at the African Cup of Nations. It hasn't been a successful time for him. Egypt, who are the hosts of the tournament, knocked out in a shock defeat by South Africa. And they've been getting, I've been reading some of the stuff there. I mean, they've been getting absolutely brutalised by the fans over there. They weren't happy at how Egypt went out. It was a real shock. But on his return, where will El Ninny end up? El Ninny now 26. Well, it's said that Bordeaux are really, really interested in signing him in a cut price deal. He'd be able to reunite with his ex-manager who used to manage Basel, now the manager of Bordeaux. Now, of course, we know that El Ninny's on good wages, £55,000 a week for a guy who hardly plays and sits on the bench for most of the time. And that's going to be the difficulty on trying to move him on. Although the rumours out there are that El Ninny would be willing to take a pay cut to move on. So again, going to be very interesting to see how that develops on. But definitely time for El Ninny to move on. And then there's Christian Bielek, again, a youngster that we bought in. I remember when he first came in, a lot of us was looking at him thinking, yes, he would make a perfect holding midfielder. He can also play as a centre-back as well. Had a great time on loan at Charlton last season, starring in the playoff final where Charlton progressed up to the Championship. When it's said today that Leeds are really interested in signing Bielek. Leeds want to replace Pontus Jansson, who they've just lost, who's just moved on, one of their top defenders. And they are interested in Bielek as a replacement for him. The thing is it time for somebody like Bielek to be given a chance in the Arsenal team? Again, you know, you loan players out. What's the point of these loans if they go out and they do really, really well, and then there's no pathway for them to come back? A bit like at the moment with Reiss Nelson. Is he going to come back into the first team? You know, loans are great, but if a player goes out on loan and does really, really well, is the purpose of that loan just to get his price up to sell him on? Or, you know, but it's going to be, Bielek's going to be interesting. Again, as I said, he can play as a defender. Maybe give him a chance there. I don't know, but let's see how that one develops. What Leeds interested in him today. Let's get into a couple of your comments. Saga says, who said Mustafi divided opinion? That's what I said yesterday. Mustafi divides opinion. He said, everyone will agree. Go. No option. He wants him out. Oofman says, Mislintat's exit is everything different between last season and this season's transfers, both in terms of quality of linked players and transfer processes. That's true. When Mislintat was here last year, deals got done very quickly. He looked like he'd already identified his targets and bang, 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 he got them done. Although the one thing I would say is that, you know, some of those players that Mislintat brought in were not exactly players that every single team in Europe was after, or were hard players to dislodge. You know, Socrates wasn't difficult to get done. All right, Torreira, he was still under the radar, so not that difficult to get done. Guendouzi, Lichtsteiner, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say they were tough deals to get done, but he identified them early and got them done early, and I agree with that. Jack Skinner says, we don't need Malcolm. His career has been ruined since he's been at Barcelona in the last year. Then yes, he was fantastic at Bordeaux, but this will only limit Nelson's game time. Again, another guy there calling for Reiss Nelson to get more game time. What do you think? Do you think these youngsters deserve more game time, especially these guys that have been out on loan and have done well on loan? Is it time to put them into the Arsenal first team? Listen, thanks for watching the show today. Don't forget to check out the AFTV FC game where we played Imperial Wharf. You can see some real... Listen, you looking for a holding midfielder? What about Ty? Check him out in that game. Trust me, he makes a nice little cameo in that. But make sure you check that out. And some of the other Blood Brothers features that are coming up over the course of the summer here on AFTV. And of course, we're getting ready to fly out to the US for the tour. Is there going to be any new faces on that plane?